I recently had someone get irritated with me because they asked me to do a talk about LGBTQ plus related things, and I was at a point where like my bandwidth was really low because I've really been kind of doing a lot. I've been doing speaking engagements, poetry readings. I've been kind of at the forefront of a lot of like very difficult conversations about representation. And this person got upset because I had to say no for this particular thing, and it really did not sit well with them. They were like, "Well, I don't know how you can just not do it, how you can't just educate, like, can't you even get me some, like, research or, like, some sources to work with?" I did end up sending them some sources, but I I got pretty frustrated in this situation because one thing that a lot of allies don't realize is that the LGBTQ plus community can't be always expected to front all of the educational work. We can't. Because while we're doing the educating, we're also dealing with people treating us horribly. And sometimes we can't get away from that. Sometimes we have to remove ourselves from that to kind of just feel some sense of solace. And it's not always consistent. Like, and mind you, like, I very rarely take breaks. I very rarely say no to things. I very rarely not vocalize myself because you know me. Being an educator, I really love having educational conversations. I love being of service. I love helping. I love volunteer work. But sometimes even I need, even I need a breather, you know? And just with the news cycle the last week or so and everything else happening, like I've just been a little overwhelmed. I am better now though. Like I am in a better place. But for allies, like I just think if there's one important thing to remember, it's that sometimes you have to front that work because depending on where we may be in our headspace or our sense of safety, we may not always be in the place where we can do that as people in the LGBTQ plus community. I know that sometimes it's difficult to accept. I know sometimes people aren't really sure what to say in a given situation or like what direction to go in. Like if you do research, you will find stuff like the ACLU has a lot of resources. The Trevor Project has a lot of resources. PFLAG has a lot of resources. Gilson, which is an educational network for LGBTQ plus topics, has a lot of resources. So I want to direct everybody again to the playlist that I made about LGBTQ plus allyship and resources, because I think that you will find a lot of like meaningful material and conversation. And if you do have an LGBTQ plus person in your life who can't front the work, like the activist work or the educating work, because they may be just completely depleted, don't be upset at them. Just be like, hey, I totally see where you're coming from. Maybe when you are at a place where you can, let's have this conversation again. I always tell people like, hey, like right now I can't, but at a certain point, um, I will be able to. There was another situation recently. So this is a really cool thing. Up north, because I'm from northern Michigan, but up north, they are doing a pride parade and a pride celebration up in a town called Gladwin, which isn't far from where I was born. And they recently reached out to me to see if I wanted to be like a featured speaker. Unfortunately, it happens at the same day that I have a commitment to PFLAG for another Pride celebration. But like when I told this person, they were so gracious and kind, and they were like, "Thank you so much. Like I just like maybe next time." And so that kind of response, like that, was the perfect response to have. Right? That was like literally an obligation. But I have a feeling like even if I said, "Hey, I'm just feeling really down, or I'm just anxious, or I'm depleted, I don't have the bandwidth," I think they would still have been like, that's cool. Like, that's fine. Right. But yeah, nothing is really solved by getting upset at somebody from wanting to establish boundaries or to emphasize that, their bandwidth kind of sucks right now. And the truth is, like, not all of us in the community know how to articulate it. So, for those of you in the LGBTQ plus community, it is okay to say no. It is okay to grant yourself the grace of stepping away, of not always being the educator or activist in any given situation. I know many of us are kind of inadvertently placed in that position, but we educate where we can. We are an activist where we can. Many of us have the privilege to be able to step away, keeping in mind that there are groups of people, like intersectional groups of people, who don't always have that luxury. And those people, from the context of those of us privileged in the community and allies, we should be especially conscious of their bandwidth and not placing them always under the responsibility of having to do the educating in any given moment. So anyway, I hope that makes sense, and I hope that you found this insightful. I don't know. It's been a long week. I am getting better. I am going to be doing some more content here soon, but I needed to take a breather for a little bit because, well, the state of the world, as you can imagine. Anyway, let me know how you're doing in the comments below. Don't forget to click like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and thank you as always for your endless support. It means a lot to me. Hang in there. We're going to get through this together. Bye.